Here's a Stromberg Carlson model C1 AM tube clock radio from around 1950-1951. This is another one of the sets that I got at the hamfest, and one of my favorites. I just absolutely love this color scheme. It's very 1950s, and looking forward to get this one working. It's just a beautiful set to me, and so I think this is the set that I eyed when I first saw all the radios for sale, which there were just 4 of them, and the lady I was talking to and negotiating with, I guess her and another guy were selling these. I think these were the guys' radios, but I was mainly dealing with her. And anyway, so when I saw this radio sitting out, I went up and asked her how much it was, and she immediately started saying, well, this price for all of them. I guess they wanted to get rid of them. So I said, well, we could work out some kind of deal with all of them. But anyway, the power cord on this thing is absolutely completely shot. I had to tape up a section where it goes into the back of the radio, right by the back cover, that was completely split up, and there's several deteriorated points in the cord, but nothing worse than that one real close to where it enters the set. So anyway, I plugged the set in and, taped up the really bad spot and plugged it in and got a filter hum. So it's going to need a filter capacitor, and it's definitely going to need a power cord right off the bat before I do anything. And here's the chassis. It's just a standard 5-tube chassis. I think this is one of the first older radios I've seen with a modern cable clamp on the power cord going into the chassis. So obviously we will reuse that when we hook up the power cord, or hook up a new power cord to it rather. And this is the deteriorated part here. It's like this on both sides. I taped up that one side, but I had both sides taped when I was testing it. I untaped it to show it's in pretty bad shape, so that'll need to be replaced before we do anything. And it's just a standard 2-gang tuner because it's a regular 5-tube chassis. And let's see what we got under the bottom of it here. If I can get this thing flipped over. This power wire coming from this clock is very short. Didn't really give you a whole lot to work with. And it looks like we have all of our original paper capacitors, it looks like. If not, they're very, very old replacements, but they look original to me, so most likely so. And I'm almost willing to bet that's the original paper electrolytic filter capacitor there. 150 working volts. I see a 50 and a 20 is what it looks like. I can't quite read it though. I'll set that back down. So anyway, yeah, this is our cabinet here and our clock mechanism there, which I'll probably need to remove to even work on this chassis, it looks like. So anyway, and the first things first, we're going to need to get that power cord replaced. Alright, we got our filter capacitor replaced and our power cord. This one looks almost a lot like the original power cord, so I'm glad I found one that kind of matches. But anyway, we got that filter cap and the power cord changed. This thing is tricky to work on because the clock wires are so short, and I'm trying to avoid having to take that clock out of here. And I'll probably take it out anyway to oil it. So anyway, but we got our filter caps changed. I took out the original can, which I had to cut out, so I know it was the original one because it was, this is the tab to it right here, and this here is the original rivet that riveted in, so it was actually the original one. This radio has probably been sitting for a long time if it never had the filter cap changed since '51. I don't imagine this thing was probably used so long, and it probably went bad and they quit using it, or I don't know. But anyway, we got that changed, and we'll change the capacitors here in a minute, but I just want to test it out, make sure everything's working okay. So let's plug it in and see what we get. Now we have vacuum bulb illumination, so that's a good thing. Still sounds like we got a hum, but I noticed we don't have the hum with the volume down, so it's not the filter cap. That almost sounds like a heater to cathode short or something in a tube. We got a microphonic or heater to cathode short, I believe. Yep, see, it went away. Yeah, we got a defect in that tube right there. Looks like a 12BA6, which is our IF amplifier tube. Yeah, you can hear it go away. You can hear the hum go away for a second. Yeah, let's replace that tube. I believe we got a heater to cathode short on that tube. Alright, let's plug it back in and see what we get now. Well, that's a whole lot clearer.
Probably put him out in left field some. Again, just as an overall coaching philosophy, I think it's important.
Turn that down. I don't need a copyright strike. Let's see.
Just so excited to have Chris back.
Oh yeah, well that's a whole lot better right there without all that humming. We got rid of that flaky 12BA6 tube.
This is a guy that can play a lot of different.
Most musicians only dream of playing in country hall, but for homeschool graduates,
It's actually got a pretty sensitive receive. It's pulling in a fair amount of stations across the dial, which I can't always get on a regular 2-gang tuner radio. Sounds like an oldies station. I don't believe I've heard that one before.
Talk Radio Experience 107 The Point. Make thepointradio.com. From the Fox Business Network, Wall Street carved out more gains to end the week, shaking off.
Alright, so it's playing pretty good, so I guess we can proceed on with some changing capacitors and probably changing a bunch of resistors too. It seems like lately I've been on a roll. Seemed like I've been replacing. It seems like every radio I've got has got a bad grid bias resistor in the audio circuit. I always end up changing out the 150 ohm and the 470Ks that are in the audio circuit. I'm sure this is probably not going to be any different. So anyway, let's get started on that. Alright, we got it back playing again. Of course, was playing, but we got everything changed out. Sounds pretty good. Got all of our capacitors and resistors that were out of tolerance replaced. And yeah, everything's working good now. 100 ohm resistor, 2 150s, and because I joked about it, 470Ks being in here, there weren't any in here. They're probably in that couplet. Anyway, everything seems to be working good, and I think we got it back on track. So here's our parts pile, all of our old capacitors and resistors there. So it seems to be playing pretty good. Alright, I figured I'd check the tubes on this thing before I buttoned it up, and we got our 12BA6, which is our replacement that I pulled out of my junk, and it checks at 64, so it looks good. I pretty much learned that these emission testers seem to always kind of check these 12BE6s kind of low, but this one here checks close to 60, about 59 or so, so I'm gonna consider that a pass. But I've checked several BE6s in a row on this tester, and they all seem to be kind of no more greater really than the mid 60s range. So I think there's some tubes that it just seems like these emission testers just don't give really a fair shake to. So you know, that's the nature of the beast, I guess. Alright, got it back in the cabinet and playing. Seems to be working pretty good.
There are lots of...
Got a pretty good receive, got a lot of DX coming in tonight.
It's time to ZipRecruiter, where 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within 1 day. How? Using powerful technology, ZipRecruiter matches your jobs to the
very inexpensive. Give them a call today. That's 405-659-7492. Mike Siding and Windows in Oklahoma City.
I'm Gina Mitchell of Mitchell's Jewelry, and I'd like to invite you.
That's what Major League Baseball is going to have to look at. sponsor.
WCBS News Time, 7:30.
News, traffic, and weather for New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. We are WCBS News Radio 880.
Good evening. It is Friday, September 15th. I'm Maria Garcia. Here's the latest from the
Scoring updates, promotions, features, and more. Find your favorite Cardinals teams and give them a follow. Many of our teams feature live audio and...
The son of a billionaire is taking a sheriff's job here in Illinois. WBBM Sports.
This is Kevin Jackman. The White Sox lose to the Tigers 3-2 on a walk-off. Cleveland loses.
Sir Susan Malden are retiring. Plus, Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr's office is joining 36 other states
750 out of Atlanta.
data breach.
A better business trip. Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details. Living with a wet basement or crawl space? Call Permaseal for a free evaluation and get the peace of mind you deserve. Call 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net. Sick and tired of overpriced...
Bikers marching through the streets in downtown St. Louis after a former White City police officer was found not guilty of murdering a black motorist. Jason Stockley shot motorist Anthony Smith in 2011. The prosecution claims Stockley planted a revolt.
St. Louis Police and several other local agencies that sat there for a little while. It was not confrontational.
Would you say he's definitely out? I would say he's going to play.
Stone Rehabilitation Hospital. I'm Eddie Stubbs, and we're proud to speak on behalf of
WSM.
We've been telling you about these great folks for over 15 years now. If you're somebody like I know you are who's interested in quality and craftsmanship that's going to last for generations, look no further.
That camera's coming in all over the radio.
That's right, free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.
Here in Nashville. Powered by the Accurate Mortgage Group, I'm meteorologist Scott Lyon-Mark Leadership. News on the hour. On behalf and on demand. WLAC.com. NBC Radio. I'm Tom Roberts.
WLAC.
Different styles of logs which you can choose from as well. And those beautiful homes can be sided with rock, brick, or other materials.
What was confident and how do you get that?
On sale now. Get the Skyline Chili Crosstown Shootout versus Cincinnati and matchups against Baylor, Butler, Villanova, and more. For Big East basketball and the biggest experience, Cintas Center is the place to be.
Set it up yourself without drilling holes in your wall, and you have professional alarm monitoring.
About 8:30 this evening in a car parked at 47th and Fairfield, all were pronounced dead at the scene. People are standing on their porches nearby right now as the evidence technicians work and the bodies are being removed. Additional Deering District.
And if that means going into debt for the stuff, that means going into debt for the stuff, even though it's the most unwise thing.
This passes, and watching this New Orleans defense game. Stop by and see either myself or my helpful staff at the Medicine Shop in St. Clair Plaza. We are a preferred provider for Coventry and Express Preferred.
Alright, I'm going to need to wrap this up because I keep running out of space on this card, so...
10 windows for your home, only 50 cents.
I can teach your children.
And the main reason it comes out of hand. Against the Lions. We'll find it. Return. This is NFL Preview.
Alright, there's my 1951 Stromberg Carlson Model C1. Play it again. Hopefully for a whole lot longer. Thanks for watching.